I'm feeling good. I'm feeling focused. I'm feeling electric. I'm feeling that this is my moment in life. I'm a brave soul, you know. I'm a brave soul, and I'm somebody that you could trust to always speak up with injustices and try to be the best leader I could possibly be, admit my wrongs, but also, you know, fight for what I believe in.
People go, where does your confidence come from? You could say confidence borderline delusional. That's what people say, is it confidence or is it delusional? You see where my confidence comes from. Denzel's a phenomenal fighter. Sparring #1 ranked WBO middleweight in the world. He's currently probably walking around at light heavy, 2 weights above mine, and performing the way I'm performing. Heart rate's in the amber and green zone. That's what that is.
Some fights are built on rankings, titles, and mandatory obligations.
What if Ryan Garcia versus Conor Benn was never just about 2 fighters meeting in a Las Vegas ring, but the beginning of a much bigger boxing power struggle that nobody was supposed to notice?
I think I was up at 5 a.m. For me, it is really just a matter of removing myself from my familiarities and my comfort zone.
So in the morning, he doesn't really have anything to eat.
Yep.
Before a session, here's a couple of coffees.
Because the deeper you go into this story, the stranger it gets. Ryan Garcia is talking like the fight is already happening. Conor Benn is training like his entire career is leading toward this moment. Fans are already counting down to September 12th. And then suddenly, Oscar De La Hoya appears with one sentence that changes the entire story. Allegedly, nothing is officially done. Wait, what?
Run at 5 in the morning when you're tired. Go back, have a nap. It makes them sparring harder.
Smells of hard work.
So,
And a lot of fucking beer, to be fair.
I like that. It allows me to push my body harder. It allows me to just, fully focus and be able to get up at 5 in the morning, do the runs without getting
I see perfection, and I'm telling you, it's dangerous for the other guy because I see that he's a complete boxer. I told you yesterday that he was talking about his body structure, what it means to him, and now he knows that this is the way he has to be going into the ring. I've never heard that before. So I told him, you know what, that's a breakthrough. This is it makes you now complete fight.
You won't believe how quickly this went from the biggest fight of the year to, hold on, who actually signed what? Because this is where the drama starts. Ryan Garcia has been carrying himself like a man who believes this is his moment. And honestly, his confidence is almost its own character in the story.
I'm gonna be prepared because every day I've been doing this and everything's been consistent. It's almost like getting your homework done. Like, you got your homework done, you've been studying, you have not you've been at every class, and it's like, all right, I'm not that nervous. Like, still got a little ooh, but all right, if the question comes, I'm gonna be there to answer it. Like, I've already done this too many times to even be too worried about it. Don't worry about nothing else and start boxing.
He talks about being focused, fearless, consistent, and ready to answer whatever questions come at him inside the ring. But then you look at Conor Benn, and the energy is completely different. Benn isn't selling himself as the mysterious superstar waiting for permission.
It's elite all the way through. And for me, if you need anyone to push you or motivate you in training, you are in the wrong game. Because if you can't get up off your ass and get it yourself, no one's gonna make you get it. If you start relying on other people to give you that ambition or that drive or that desire, again, you're in the wrong sport.
To win. Like, my mom and dad, they gave their whole salary to this one tournament. We drove all the way over there. It was cross country. And I said to myself, if I lose in this tournament and I gotta do this long ride back home, this is gonna be torture. Punished them and came back with the national title. So that was good.
He's selling himself as the guy who wakes up, gets the work done, and expects nobody else to motivate him. And that difference matters because this isn't just confidence versus confidence.
Good.
Yeah, there, it's rotation. More tension or good?
More tension.
Solid. Solid, good. So Tony's got him progressing incrementally week on week. So it's not just we do a blanket approach. It's based on the athlete, based on his times. We track all of the times. And today you probably saw all of his times improved exponentially. It was incredible. And it's interesting because at the start of camp, he's like, I'm never going to be able to do that at the end of camp. Tony's like, trust me, you are.
It's confidence versus pressure. Ryan has the speed, the timing, and that famous left hook that keeps appearing in every prediction like boxing's most persistent notification. Ben has the pressure, the aggression, the engine, and the mentality of someone who believes that if he keeps walking forward, eventually the other guy has to break rhythm. Sounds simple, right? Ryan Garcia versus Conor Benn. Speed versus pressure. Precision versus persistence. Except there's a giant problem hiding underneath all of it: the weight. And this is where the story suddenly gets much more interesting.
Is it official that Ryan is facing Conor Benn? Can you let us know about that?
Not official. Nothing's official. Just quite yet. I've been hearing rumblings, and look. The bottom line is, Conor Benn is with Zuffa. Conor Benn is promoted by Zuffa and Dana White. I believe that's a fight that Ryan wants. And if Ryan wants that fight, me as his promoter, I have to grant his wish and work with every.
Reports and boxing analysts have raised questions about how Ben will feel at 147 pounds after competing at higher weights. And that isn't some tiny technical detail. That could be the entire fight. Because imagine spending years building physical strength at higher divisions, and then suddenly having to make the welterweight limit for a fight against one of the fastest punchers in the sport.
Dana White, so be it. Which I believe me and Dana White in the same room, breathing the same air, will probably be more entertaining than the actual fight itself. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it unfolds, all the negotiations and where this fight lands. And obviously, look, we're with DAZN. We are with Ryan Garcia. So again, I work with every promoter out there. And
if Ben feels perfect at the weight, we could have a completely different fight. If he struggles, Garcia's speed could become a nightmare. And according to Gareth A. Davies' prediction discussed in the episode, that possibility is serious enough that he favors Garcia strongly. But then, breaking news.
Someone watching this would be like, well, what's happening?
Right. Well, what's happening is, typical, fighters that are eager. They want to fight a certain guy, and they announce it on their social media platforms, and they go on shows announcing it, and not knowing that we still have work to do, which is fine, because if that's the fight that you want.
This isn't even the biggest twist, because while everyone is obsessing over what happens between Garcia and Ben, Oscar De La Hoya basically walks into the conversation and reminds everybody that boxing has a secret boss nobody sees. Paperwork. Yes, paperwork. The most dangerous opponent in boxing might not be a left hook, a jab, or a pressure fighter.
Got star character and star qualities. If he's going to make 147, if he's good at the weight, it'll be a good fight. If he has really struggled at the weight, he's going to struggle against Garcia, who is a massive puncher at welterweight with both left and right hooks, notably that left hook. It's a dangerous fight for him. I think it'll deliver all the way to the fight, but I'm afraid I think he'll get knocked out by Ryan Garcia, unless he knocks Garcia out himself. I want to see Devin Haney in with Ryan Garcia as well in the rematch.
It might be a contract sitting on somebody's desk. Oscar reportedly made it clear that the fight wasn't completely official at that stage, despite all the public excitement. And suddenly the entire narrative flips. Fans are hearing September 12th, fighters are talking about the matchup, analysts are predicting the winner, social media is exploding. Meanwhile, Oscar is essentially saying, everybody relax, there's still work to do.
On the floor in their suits, arguing in their slippery brogues. Everything they do in the build-up to that fight will be box office gold. The fight itself, I favour Garcia in a big way.
Is it the biggest fight outside the heavyweight division?
Because of the draw of Ryan Garcia and his huge social media following, because of where Conor Benn sits now, because Ring will be behind it, Turkey Al Sheikh will be behind it, Zuffa Boxing will be involved in it. It's a big crossover fight.
That is classic boxing. And then comes the part that sounds almost too perfect to be real. Oscar jokes that being in the same room with Dana White could potentially be more entertaining than the actual fight. Let that sink in. The fight itself hasn't even happened, and already the business drama has its own co-main event. Ryan Garcia wants the fight. Conor Benn wants the fight. Fans want the fight. But now you have Oscar De La Hoya, DAZN, Zuffa, Dana White.
Fight. I don't think Conor is ready for Ryan, but if there is a champion at 147 that Conor would beat right now, it may just be Ryan. Ryan and Conor will do crazy numbers. I think Ryan has a lot of the edge here. I think Conor showed in his last fight he is still a ways to go from being world level. If that ever happens at all, I don't know. And Ryan showed in his last fight, even if it was Mario Barrios, that he's back on track. Like I said, this will...
And other boxing power players potentially sitting around the same table trying to make the pieces fit. And you already know what happens when boxing executives sit around a table. Somebody says, easy deal. Everybody smiles. And 3 hours later, there are 17 complications. But here comes another twist. Oscar isn't reportedly shutting the fight down. In fact, he sounds willing to work with the people necessary to make it happen. So the drama isn't necessarily the fight is falling apart. The drama is that the fight
with the WBC and Zuffa and Dana White and Oscar De La Hoya, and the whole thing is chaos right now in boxing. But amongst the chaos, we have at least a very fun build to a fight. I don't know how the fight will go. Listen, we know that both guys, Conor Benn and Ryan Garcia, bring it on fight night. So I don't expect a bad fight. I expect Conor Benn to really get stuck in, and while doing that, probably run into a left hook, I'll be honest. But still, regardless, I think it'll be a fun fight. And I think it'll be one that we'll walk away from saying, if anything, it was entertaining.
Fighters may have moved faster than the business machine behind them. And honestly, that might make the eventual announcement even bigger. Because now fans aren't just waiting for fight night, they're waiting for confirmation that the entire circus has finally agreed on where the tent goes. Meanwhile, inside the training camps, the mood couldn't be more serious. Garcia talks about waking up around 5 a.m., running, conditioning, and pushing himself outside familiar routines. His camp describes incremental progress, tracking performance and watching his times improve. That sounds boring until you realize what it means. This isn't just motivational Instagram content. The camp is being presented as a process where every small improvement is being measured. And Ben? His story gets even more personal. He talks about his father creating a makeshift place to train, his family's belief that he was destined to make an impact in boxing, and the sacrifices his parents made for tournaments. One story stands out. His family reportedly gave up a significant portion of their income to help him compete, and Ben remembers thinking that losing after such a long journey home would be unbearable, so he made sure he won. That story tells you something important about his mindset. This isn't simply a fight for a belt or a paycheck. At least from the way Ben describes it, there is a deeper emotional connection to proving that all those early sacrifices were worth something. But just when you think the story is becoming inspirational, here comes another turn, because analysts aren't only debating who is better, they're debating whether Ben is actually ready for Garcia at all. Wade Plemons, as discussed in the episode, reportedly sees Garcia as having a significant edge, while still acknowledging that Ben's pressure makes him dangerous. And that's the strange part about this matchup. Even the people leaning heavily toward Garcia aren't necessarily dismissing Ben. Why? Because pressure changes everything. A fighter can look brilliant for 6 rounds until suddenly the opponent refuses to give him space. One mistake, one mistimed combination, one moment of hesitation, and the entire prediction can collapse. That is why boxing is so addictive. The person who looks unbeatable on paper still has to survive the person standing directly in front of him. And then we get another fake breaking news moment. The fight is getting bigger, not because somebody threw a punch, but because the business surrounding it keeps expanding. Ryan Garcia brings enormous social media attention. Conor Benn brings his own fan base and storyline. Major boxing personalities are talking about it. Promotional organizations are connected to the discussion. Analysts are calling it a potential crossover blockbuster. Suddenly, this isn't just another championship fight. Online speculation starts turning it into a cultural event. And that creates another layer of pressure for both fighters. Because if everybody is calling this a blockbuster before the opening bell, what happens if the fight doesn't live up to the hype? What happens if one fighter dominates? What happens if the weight changes everything? What happens if Benn walks forward and Garcia lands the shot everyone has been warning about? Or, and this is the scenario nobody wants to ignore, what happens if Benn absorbs the pressure, keeps closing distance, and turns Garcia's speed into a disadvantage? That is the question hanging over everything. And now we reach the part where the entire story starts looking different. At first, this seemed like Ryan Garcia versus Conor Benn. Then it became Garcia's speed versus Benn's pressure. Then it became 147 pounds versus physical strength. Then it became Oscar De La Hoya versus the business side of boxing. Then Dana White and Zuffa entered the conversation. And suddenly, the fight itself became only one piece of the story. Because perhaps the real reason this matchup feels so huge isn't simply that Garcia and Benn are recognizable names. It's because every person surrounding them brings another storyline. The fighters have something to prove. The promoters have negotiations to complete. The analysts have predictions to defend. The fans have arguments to win. And social media has already turned the entire thing into a courtroom where everyone thinks they're the judge. But here's the final twist. Maybe we're looking at this all wrong. Maybe the biggest story isn't whether Ryan Garcia beats Conor Benn. Maybe the real story is whether this fight can become the event everyone thinks it can be. Because if Garcia wins impressively, the victory could strengthen his position as one of boxing's biggest stars. If Benn wins, the entire conversation changes overnight. The underdog becomes the headline. The pressure fighter becomes the man everybody has to talk about. And if the fight becomes an unforgettable battle, then both names could come out bigger than they entered. So after all the rumors, negotiations, predictions, training footage, weight questions, promotional chaos, and endless online debates, we're left with one brutally simple question. When the talking finally stops and the bell rings, does Ryan Garcia's speed and left hook control the night? Or does Conor Benn's pressure completely destroy the script everyone thinks they already know? Because right now, everyone thinks they know how this story ends. And that's exactly why September 12th could surprise everybody.